Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Hero Academia, Season 3, Episode 20. And I just like showing this off now. I fell in love with this thing. I've always wanted one of these, and I got one just the other day at my friend's birthday party. They were basically party favors. Yeah, I just find it fun. Anywho, My Hero Academia, Season 3, Episode 22. I'm excited, and that is because I have heard one thing about this episode. I know that this episode is really hyped up. Like, manga readers have been saying that they've been waiting for this. And even the anime-onlys I've followed who talk about this show, the ones who have already seen it, I don't know any other spoilers, but they have said that it's really good and that it's really hype-worthy. So I'm interested to find out why. I'm interested to see exactly what the big deal with this episode is. And, yeah, exactly where the final episodes of this season are going to go. I honestly could not tell you, but I guess it's going to be a big deal. I guess it's going to be something, like, really big. And so far, whenever people have hyped up this show, usually it ends up being worth the hype. Usually it ends up being worthy of it, whatever happens in the episodes. So I have good faith that this is going to be another one of those situations where the episode is going to live up to the hype or maybe even surpass it. I will say right off the bat, though, yeah, there is only a few episodes of this season left. Now, you may be wondering exactly what I'm going to react to for the next season of anime, for the fall season, which starts off, I believe, just next month. I haven't made an official video talking about it yet, but I'll just talk about it here real quick. So for the next season of anime, I've been really thinking about the list of anime that are going to be airing, and there's only really 4 that I'm really interested in. There's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Vento Arreo, Sword Art Online, Alicization. I probably horribly mispronounced that. Alicization. I think it's pronounced actually. Alicization. And Ace Attorney Season 2. Those 3 are continuations of shows that I already have an interest in. But there's a new one that starts airing this next season as well that I have a slight interest in. It's called Zombieland Saga. And from what I've gathered, it's supposed to be a really unique take on a zombie story. So that alone interests me. It might be good, it might be bad, who knows. Now, the question is, which of these am I actually going to be reacting to? Because here's the deal. I mean, we're doing 2 anime things right now. Yeah, because we have Inuyashiki, which is already aired in the past, and then we have the currently airing My Hero Academia. Oh, no, we're doing more than that. We also have Steins Gate. Steins Gate I don't think is ending this season, though. After this season. I don't think so. But either way, I'm thinking of only doing one show from this next season, and it's going to be JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Vento Arreo, and let me explain why. I know you want to get onto the My Hero reaction, but this is regarding anime as well. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of my favorite shows out there. No matter which part of it is, but especially Diamond is Unbreakable. Each part of JoJo is better than the last, so I have a lot of hope and faith that Vento Arreo will even surpass Diamond is Unbreakable. But I have a extreme interest in the series above everything else. So that's kind of why I am choosing to go with that one. But then there's a couple other things too. So why else would I not choose to go with any of the others? Well, Zombieland Saga is the only, again, one I already don't have interest in because of seeing previous seasons and whatnot. That one I don't think it's going to be right for reactions. Sword Art Online Alicization. I don't want to react to a Sword Art Online series. Let's be honest. I ended up not reacting to Sword Art Online Alternative, the spin-off, and watched that on my own time, and I think that was a good idea to do. And even though that was much better than the main series, I still don't think it would have been proper to do for a reaction series. I just don't think it would have worked. And as for Ace Attorney Season 1 was just kind of good. Just kind of okay, even. It wasn't great or anything. Ace Attorney Season 2 I'm not really super excited for, but I have an interest because I am a fan of the games and whatnot, and so I will be checking it out. That's one, again, and because of those reasons, I'm not really, I don't really want to react to it. But yeah, that's the main thing there. Vento Arreo is the only one I really have a huge interest in, and the only one I really think would be good for reactions. So yeah, after My Hero ends, Vento Arreo will be taking its place, and Vento Arreo starts on the 5th, which is a Friday. So when that starts, I'm either going to have to switch around the schedule a little bit, or I'm just not going to get to it on Fridays, which is very likely. Unless I put that on Fridays and moved Inuyashiki to sometime else. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I mean, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Either way, so that will be happening. There are 3 other series that I do want to react to in the future that I just have to figure out when to put in and where to put in and everything. Which is Disenchantment, which is already on Netflix. The Dragon Prince, which comes out to Netflix this week. And then She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which comes in November. Those 3 I also want to react to. Those aren't anime, but at least 2 of them are anime inspired. But yeah, it's like, I do want to react to those 3 at some point in the future as well. Just wanted to bring that up. So sorry if I talked a little too long about going off on that little that little bit there. But I just wanted to bring that up, let you guys know what the future for currently airing anime reactions are. But I do want to find out real quick, one thing. I do want to find out and be sure about when Steins Gate Zero ends. Because I don't believe it ends after this season. I don't think it's ending yet. But I'm not 100% sure on that either. It's 23 episodes, plus there's going to be an OVA, I guess. And I know I'm a bit behind, too. There's already 20 episodes out as of this past week. So episode 21 comes out. Okay, it is going to... I think it just started later than other ones, so it is ending this season as well. So, in that case, I will probably end up having... since Steins Gate Zero is going to end as well, I will probably end up having... what's it called? JoJo take place on Wednesdays. Like, I'll have it be the Wednesday after. Or, unless I move it to a different day and then move something else to Wednesday, which is always possible. We'll figure that out when we get to it. I didn't realize Steins Gate Zero is that close to ending. I need to do a big catch-up day for that, you know? Maybe I'll be able to this week. I'll figure that out. I'll probably post an update regarding all of this later as well to probably go in more detail. But We are here for My Hero Academia, so let's get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, we're going to go in order for this episode and talk about the things like as they happened in the episode, because there's a lot to discuss here, a lot to break down. So we'll begin with the result of the licensing exam. So everyone from Class 1A passed except Bakugo and Todoroki. And they get a second chance because there's going to be a little thing they're going to do in order to make sure that they get to get their provisional license as well. They basically just have to go through some extra training for it. And I think I mentioned this in the past with this licensing exam in past reactions and stuff. But talking from the perspective of it now having happened, I think this is a cop-out. I think this is lazy and kind of ridiculous. And hear me out. I talked about before how this show had become my favorite anime of all time, and it still is. But even my favorite anime of all time isn't necessarily perfect. It's going to have issues, and this, I think, is an issue. The idea that all of Class 1A passed or has the opportunity to pass now is wrong in my eyes. I get the idea they were going for, with All Might having now stepped down from active hero work and them kind of needing to fill the spot, and because of how much of a villain deterrent All Might was just because of his presence alone, they have to kind of fill it with a lot of other people, which means they need a lot of these provisional heroes strolling the streets. I get that, but to have all of Class 1A except Bakugo and Todoroki to pass feels like a complete cop-out to me. I would have been fine if a good portion of them did not pass and had to take the extra lessons and would get their license that way. But having all but 2 of them actually straight up pass, it just feels ridiculous to me. Like, it completely invalidates the pressure of the entire arc. The provisional licensing exam arc was good because it had that pressure of not knowing if they were going to pass or not. The arc wasn't great just because of the new characters and their quirks and stuff that we saw. It wasn't just great because of the awesome action sequences and seeing Gang Orca in action. All of that was awesome. But what made this great was its presence, was the feeling it gave to the viewer. It gave you this sense of almost anxiety on whether or not you were going to see your favorite characters pass the exam or not, and what it would mean if they didn't. And to have it done this way, again, where only 2 of them don't, and don't get me wrong, the reasons they didn't, I understand why, especially Bakugo. The reasons those 2 didn't pass, I understand why, but I think more of them shouldn't have. I think it would have made a lot more sense, been a lot better for the story, and just, it would have felt more natural. Yes, Class 1A is exceptionally skilled. They are exceptionally talented. They have real-world experience because of the shit they've gone through. But at the same time, it's a cop-out to just have pretty much all of them. There's 20 students in the class, right? 18 of them passed the licensing exam without issue. Sure, there are a couple of them who were really close and were skating the edge, and I do appreciate that at least. But the fact is, they all passed. Now, I think it would have been better if maybe a couple of them only passed by like a couple points. But from what we saw, the lowest points, the closest to failing, was still like 14 points ahead. 14 points ahead of failing. Because it was 50, and I think 64 was the lowest point score we were told about. I think it would have been better if there were a few who didn't. And I think some of the better ones to be for that would be some of the more well-known ones, even. Some of the ones who weren't exactly as some of the ones who were more expected to pass, even. Maybe they did something wrong. Maybe there was one or two moments where there was an issue that caused them to stumble. Yaoyorozu, I'm fine with her passing. I'm fine with Ida and Uraraka passing. But why not have Jiro maybe fail? Or heck, I hate to say it, but why not have Sue fail? Sue was stated in Season 2 to have no clear weaknesses. And I love Sue, and I love that she's extremely talented and skillful. But that's actually one thing I don't like. Believe it or not. I think that characters need to have weaknesses. And we've seen that Sue actually does. We've seen especially that she has some emotional issues at times. And that she tends to worry a lot about her friends. And we also know, of course, she does tend to speak without really filtering anything sometimes, too. She says what's on her mind. But in all seriousness, I think they should do more with giving her and other characters like her some legitimate issues. They've given characters like Ida real problems to work through. With his impulsiveness and overthinking things. Ochiko has had some issues to work through. Especially with self-confidence. Momo, Yaoyorozu, has even had self-confidence issues. Todoroki has had issues. Bakugo has had issues to work through. A lot of them have. But I just think Sue has not really had as much that has really hurt her time as a hero, I guess you could say. Her time as a hero in training. That is the one thing I really think they need to work on with her character. And I'm saying, and she's my favorite character in the entire show. So I'm saying this from a point of how much I love her. They need to work on it a little bit. But either way, I just think they really should have made it so that more of the students failed. And needed to take the extra lessons, basically. The extra testing. Because if they did it that way, if they were still going to get their licensing exams, or their provisional licenses later on, I'd be fine with that. I could live with that. I think Mina and Kaminari maybe would be good choices to not have gotten their licenses here, because they've been shown to struggle in a lot of ways in other areas, so I think it would have fit for their characters. Not that I necessarily want them to fail, and that goes with anyone, but still, you know what I mean. So they get their licenses, though, and then we get to the next big thing to talk about. So All Might is having a discussion with All For One. And All For One is taunting All Might, but he's legitimately answering All Might's questions. Every question All Might has, All For One answers. And it may not be in the way that All Might wants. It may not be the things that All Might wants to hear, but I don't think All For One really has anything that he feels he needs to hide. I don't think he's that kind of villain where he thinks he needs to keep things hidden, or it's like, oh, you'll find out when you need to know. He's not that kind of villain. I think he likes to gloat. I think he's the kind of villain who's like, oh, I'm going to tell you my plan, but there's nothing you can do about it. I think he's that kind of villain. And I like that. I don't think we get enough villains who are quite like that. Yes, we have villains all the time who will monologue and talk about what they're planning, but not quite in this same way. See, this is different from monologuing. This is just pure gloating. It's pure showmanship. He knows that that in his eyes it doesn't matter if All Might or anyone else knows what he's planning. Because he knows that the others, the people who are running the prison and all, he knows they were listening in. They were straight up communicating with them at points. He knows straight up that they were listening in. He doesn't care. In fact, he kind of was having fun with it. He was kind of laughing and smiling the entire time. I really like him as a villain, not just because he has a very intimidating presence and he's extremely powerful, which made him an amazing villain in and of itself, but I love his personality. I really just love how they're making him feel creepy in a way, with just his overconfident personality. It comes across as eerie. So I like that. I really do. We also found out during, basically right before this segment, that we were right. Well, I was right. Probably plenty of others as well. I don't know how common this theory was, but thinking about it, like, we never knew Himiko Toga's abilities before. That was never actually stated. And someone brought up that we didn't really know Spinner's either. But Spinner, I think his quirk probably just has to do with his look. It's probably in the same vein as, like, Sue's or someone like that, where it has to do with him being a lizard. It's probably that kind of thing. Although, of course, his physical form is definitely more akin to a lizard than Sue's is to an actual frog. I'd say it's more like Sue's snake friend. I cannot think. Habako, I want to say, from one of the OVAs. From the other school, you know who I'm talking about. But either way, yeah, I don't know how popular this theory was, but I think it just made the most sense. I doubt that would have been Spinner. I just really do. It just fit more with Himiko, especially personality-wise. Especially, like, when she was naked. She was supposed to be naked. I've seen what it shows in the manga, and it doesn't actually show anything, but it's clear that she's naked there. And when she's naked and running away and stuff, and she, like, stops and just sits there, and the things she says to Izuku, like, oh, but I wanted to talk more and stuff, or whatever it was, it was very clearly the same kind of vibes I got off of Himiko back during the forest. Like, especially, like, when she had Sue pinned against the tree and was, like, talking to her and stuff. And I think she was doing the same thing, talking to Ochiko. So, yeah. It's definitely the exact same kind of vibes. And since we hadn't known her quirk before, it's like, it kind of came across as a little obvious that maybe it was her. It just seemed like something was definitely off, especially with the fact that she was transforming. Yeah, I just feel like that's interesting, though. And we found out the specifics of it in this episode. So apparently, if Himiko ingests someone's blood, she can transform into them, and it's a perfect copy. She can turn into them in terms of looks, voice, and even in some ways mannerisms. So I wonder if maybe the mannerisms part is just her studying who she's turning into, or maybe she actually just straight up can do it normally. Maybe she could just copy mannerisms when she transforms into them, like it's just part of her quirk. Now, when she transformed into Uraraka during the exam, we know that that's because of the blood she got during the forest attack. So that makes even more sense when you think about it. I just really love that I was right on that. And I love that it's building more with Himiko. I think she's going to be a really fascinating villain. She already is, but definitely more so going forward now that we know this is her quirk. And the big question is, where's the real Cammy during all of this? Where is the real Cammy at? Was she killed? Was she kidnapped? We don't know yet. But I am interested to find out. Hopefully we will. I am interested. But then we get to the big part of the episode. And all of that was big. All of what we talked about already was big. But then we get to the real big, important part of the episode. You see, this series has hinged on its relationship between Izuku and Bakugo. Like, let's be honest, the series has a lot going for it, but the biggest draw in my eyes is that relationship. That has been a driving factor of the show since its very start. At the beginning, they were former childhood friends turned rivals turned enemies. Bakugo violently bullied Izuku. Very violently. I mean, we saw that even as kids, he physically beat Izuku up. At one point. Even though it didn't show it happening, it definitely told us that it happened. We see that he's very physical about it. He's not afraid to hurt Izuku. But we also see, as the series progresses, he starts to develop and grow. And it really starts at that first training with All Might. When All Might's running that first hero versus villain training in Season 1, that's where Bakugo really began to change. Because of Izuku's actions, but also because of him seeing the abilities of the other students, his classmates. Like he said, he watched Todoroki use his ice powers and stuff and knew that he could not beat him. Which led to an awesome battle and storyline at the end of the tournament arc in Season 2. But also, it was big for his development. And we saw, as the series kept going on, with every big event that happened, things happened involving Bakugo that changed him. In the tournament arc, the big thing wasn't even his win against Todoroki and everything involving that. It was actually his battle with Ochako, with Uraraka, that changed him. That was huge for him, because afterwards, he straight up complimented her. Not only did he straight up compliment Uraraka, but he actually stood up for her in a way. He showed so much growth there by acknowledging her strength and acknowledging that she put up a hell of a fight against him. He was being extremely respectful. I mean, in his own way, of course, but he was. And then, just every time it continues on, every big event, we see just how much he's growing. We saw earlier in this very arc, he complimented Izuku. Izuku, the one he hated the most, the one he bullied constantly, he complimented him. And now, this conversation may not have seemed like much to an outside eye, but to those of us who have been watching all this time, we saw the change in just the way he was speaking, the way his body language spoke to us, the way he handled everything. Yes, there was a moment where he snapped at Izuku and yelled, and it's like, just let me speak, you damn idiot. And it's like, but even the way he said that was different. The way he was putting things together, and again, I've talked about it a lot, but he's extremely intelligent and observant. So the fact that he was putting all this together wasn't surprising to me. But it's always great to see it happen, to see how he's putting this stuff together. He's figured out straight up, and Izuku, again, like he said, like Bakugo said, wasn't denying it. He found out, and he knows Izuku got his powers from All Might. He doesn't know all the details, but he knows that much. He's acknowledging how far Izuku's come, how much he's risen, how he's kept going up and up and up. And now he wants another fight. Not out of malice this time, not out of anger. It didn't say exactly why, but I think I know why he wants this fight. I think Bakugo is the perfect example of an enemy turned rival slash possible friend character done perfectly. He's Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta was an enemy at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z during the Saiyan saga. During the Frieza saga, he aligned himself with Goku and the other Z fighters because of a common enemy. Or, just to put it simply, a common motive. As the series progressed and he worked more and more alongside the Z fighters, he started becoming less aggressive towards them. There were still moments he would become slightly aggressive, but he became less and less, to the point where in the Buu saga of Dragon Ball Z, he sacrificed himself for his wife, for his son, and even for Goku. Because at that point, whether he wanted to admit it or not, Goku had become his friend. Yes, they were still rivals, and going into Dragon Ball Super and all, they remained rivals, but Vegeta always had one goal, even still at that point. He wanted to defeat Goku fairly. Because he recognized Goku's strength, he recognized that Goku was better than him, and he wanted to defeat him, to surpass him, and prove to himself that he could do it. That is exactly what's going on with Bakugo. Bakugo kind of started out as a antagonistic character, not quite a villain, but a very much villain-like towards Izuku. They were united in a common motive, going through UA to become the best hero, although their reasons for such were different. Bakugo wanted to become a hero who was strong, who never lost, because that's what he viewed his idol, All Might, as. Bakugo viewed All Might as a hero who never loses. Izuku viewed All Might as a hero who always smiles in the face of danger and does what he can to rescue people. Two different views, but both equally valid. Although the never loses part isn't entirely true. But that united them. They had the one common motive. Just like with Goku and Vegeta wanting to take down Frieza in the Frieza saga, Izuku and Bakugo's motive was to get through UA, to pass it, and to become heroes. And as time went on, they worked more and more together, and just doing the same kinds of things, going through the same kinds of troubles and events, and that led to them forming a sort of connection. Not as much of a bond as Goku and Vegeta did, because Bakugo was still kind of avoiding Izuku in a way. But I think that's better, because it shows that eventually, if they do actually become friends and allies, it's going to be something that takes time and takes effort, and it's not something that's... I feel like with Dragon Ball Z, with Goku and Vegeta, they didn't pace it out enough. It's kind of like they didn't explain and go into as much with the actual development. It's just kind of Vegeta and Goku. It's like, oh, at one point they're enemies. Then they become rivals, and they're kind of still rivals with each other for a while. Vegeta still has some hatred for him, but kind of falls in line suddenly and kind of realizes his what he really wants suddenly. It just didn't feel like it was built up to as well as it already has been for Izuku and Bakugo. Bakugo's been changing, and this fight that's presumably going to happen next episode is why it's just become such an amazing thing for me. Why it's one of the biggest reasons why this show is my favorite anime of all time now. Bakugo's growth and development, and especially in terms of his relationship to Izuku, is amazing to me. He doesn't want this fight out of malice. He doesn't want this fight just because he wants to put Izuku in his place or anything like that. He wants to beat Izuku fairly. He wants to beat him to prove that he can be the hero that he idolized growing up. That he can be the hero who never loses. That was his goal. Being given any kind of sign that he's weak, that he could lose, is his kryptonite. That's why he's always been so harsh and aggressive towards that idea. When Izuku showed him up or showed any kind of chance of surpassing him, he was always so angry about it because he wasn't being able to live up to what he viewed as being the ultimate sign of a hero. He was being shown a weakness that he was afraid to have. Bakugo is a lot more nuanced than some people give him credit for. He's not just an aggressive, angry, vile person. He has a lot more to him, and I think we're starting to all see that by this point. This is not the same Bakugo from the start of Season 1. This isn't even the same Bakugo from the start of Season 3. Even just this season alone, he's grown so much. He's grown, he's changed, he's developed into one of the best characters in this show. And I think that this fight needs to happen. I think they need to do this. And no matter what the outcome is, whether Izuku wins again, or whether Bakugo does manage to actually defeat him for once, no matter what it is, I think this needs to happen. Just like the fight between Goku and Majin Vegeta in the Buu Saga needed to happen. They need to see how far this is going to go. Bakugo especially needs to see where he's going to stack against Izuku going forward. How far he's truly come, how far Izuku has truly come. And he needs this to help lower his pride and to help give his pride meaning. A lot of people will say things like pride is destructive and all, but I don't think that. I think pride can be useful if used in a positive way. Pride can help push you and motivate you and make you do better and make you want to do better. And I think that if Bakugo and Izuku have this fight, it can help Bakugo learn to use his pride in a constructive way to better himself. Not to be super aggressive against others, but to acknowledge the weaknesses and flaws within his own ability, his own mindset, his own just everything, and work to fix them, work to improve upon all of who he is to become the hero he truly wants to be. And failing the provisional licensing exam and needing to take these extra classes and all, I think that's going to help him as well. So all in all, I know I've been talking for a long time regarding this episode, but there was a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack. All in all, I think this fight needs to happen. And I think it needs to be an important fight. They need to give it a good amount of focus next episode. I don't want them just going off into something else. I want next episode to be this fight. to be this, how did Uraraka put it? Fated battle between men? Because that's who they are now. When they started in this series, they were just a couple of teenage boys. Izuku was nervous, timid, had a lot of passion and heart to him, but really needed confidence and drive. Really needed something to push him. And he got that with All Might. He got that with his fellow students and friends. He got that with his classes and other teachers. And with the events that helped shape him. He's grown into a wonderful man. And Bakugo, he started off as angry, aggressive, fearful. Though he didn't present it, he was definitely fearful. Fearful of being proven that he wasn't the strongest, that he wasn't going to live up to the ideals that he saw in All Might. And through all of the events that happened, through failing time and time again, ironically so, it's helped him realize that maybe there's more to this. That maybe his intelligence and natural-born skill will help him continue on and become the hero he wants to be. But that he doesn't need to be so aggressive and angry about it. That he doesn't need to focus so much on the not losing part, but more on the fighting for it. More on the journey rather than the destination. And he's developed into an amazing, powerful, and willful man as well. This is the fated battle that Ochako unknowingly predicted. The fated battle that needs to happen. And will develop and push these two to become even greater than they could ever imagine, than they could ever hope to be. Some people have said, and I think I might have even said, that you could compare Izuku and Bakugo and their relationship to how All Might is to Endeavor. I disagree, though. They're going to be better than that. Izuku's going to surpass All Might, both as a person and as a hero. And Bakugo will do the same in regards to Endeavor. And I truly believe that by the time this series ends, by the time that we see Izuku as the greatest hero in the world, the new symbol of peace, I truly believe Bakugo will be right there by his side as number 2. And not even care. Not even worry about being second to Izuku. Because he'll be a true hero too. And that's what will matter to him. Thank you for tuning in. I'm getting emotional. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.